Hello, welcome to the Man to Man podcast with me, Lloyd. In this podcast we talk mental health, support and breaking down barriers and stigmas attached to men's mental health. It's so important we normalise mental health conversations and create communities where we can talk openly about our mental health. So, let's get on with today's show. Welcome all. I'll keep it simple to start. Why do you think men find it so difficult to open up about their mental health?
For me, it was embarrassment, to be honest with you. I didn't want to tell anybody that I was suffering with depression. And for me, it was a stigma. It's basically the stigma that's involved in it. With your mates, we are taking a piss out of each other and things like that. And for me, it was that's what I was afraid of. And if I said to you, I'm really struggling at the moment for one reason or another, I didn't want to be used against me in any way.
But you wouldn't know our reaction either, would
But
you?
no, I wouldn't either, see. So like, I'm already overthinking things in my head and already sort of working up. So again, that's an anxiety thing then, along with it really. That leads you into other confidence thing as well. If you can't talk to your mates about stuff and you're struggling, that can knock your confidence as well, because you're almost not being yourself then either.
No.
You're being somebody different. You're putting on a different.
Or you shy away talking.
Yeah, you do. You're being a totally different person then.
Yeah.
So you're not really showing your mates who you actually are in that moment of time.
We probably meet up less now, so when we meet up, it goes from like 1 to 100 straight off the bat. Everyone's laughing, joking about, and it's probably no time. That probably plays into then. You don't want to. I'll bring the mood down or whatever. Or it's not the time.
Yeah.
We don't even think. I'll just ring one of the boys. And I'll have a chat about it. But it's like that don't cross your mind to do it. I don't think.
No, it don't. But at the same time, like because you don't see each other that often, you hit the nail on the head. Then you don't want to spoil it, because you just think, right, I want to go out and I want to enjoy myself tonight. You know what I mean? And for me, when I do get a chance to go out, it is like blowing off some steam. Sometimes I don't even feel like going out, but I make myself go because I think, right, I should go because I haven't seen you for ages. Yeah. It'd be good to catch up. Sometimes I'd be dreading it. Especially like if we have big weekends
And we
stuff
did,
like that.
we
Big
didn't
weekends.
know that.
No,
Like, none of us knew that.
No, you wouldn't have.
And if we knew that,
Yeah.
we would have dealt with things differently.
Yeah. No.
But we just assume that just everything's fine, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use the word normal, because what is normal?
Yeah.
But in terms of like what you went through, who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's funny really, because like we went out that one night, didn't we? And you opened up to me and you said, "Oh, I've been suffering with depression." Now, I would have never thought that you were suffering with depression unless you had said that you'd been suffering with depression.
I was shocked as well.
And I think you said to me that you didn't know that I'd been going through anything either.
Yeah.
So that there was a bit of a eye opener from my point of view. And I sort of texted you the next day, didn't I? And I said, it was quite a refreshing conversation last night. We were talking about like real life problems rather than getting absolutely smashed. Even though we did get absolutely smashed, but it was
We did that. We made the most of it.
But yeah, it was a good conversation, and I think afterwards I felt quite good afterwards that we'd had a conversation.
Yeah, and
not on your own, like.
Yeah,
definitely, and no, it sounds strange, but knowing someone else is going through that or has been, and you have that commonality. But I think coming back to what you were saying about talking to the boys and things, and it's not the feeling that if you open up to the boys, they're not going to be of any help or whatever. It all comes from yourself. Yeah. There's never a judgment on the people in your group or the people that you're friends with. There's never a judgment on them. It's like your perception of what could happen.
Yeah.
So you were worried about what could happen without any kind of proof or evidence that it could actually manifest in that way. That's the anxiety or the overthinking.
It's the fear,
and it does, and you snowball. Like I've had quite a lot of conversations with you, Di, about it, and it does really help. It's almost like once you start, you don't want to stop.
Yeah.
And you get to the point where you're comfortable. Do you know what? I am experiencing this, and I'm okay with it, and I don't really care now who knows or what their opinions are, because it makes no difference to me.
No.
I know my mates want to have that opinion. And if they have got that opinion, they're not our mates, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's having that kind of idea.
I think when it's in a group, you almost buy into. You ask the question, all right, mate, how are you doing? And then everyone plays along the game of, yeah, great. There's no point in playing.
Yeah.
Because no one will listen anyway.
Yeah.
And you just got on with the night.
Yeah.
And it's not forthcoming for you to get your feelings out there and get all in the middle of a Wetherspoons or whatever.
But in general, just in nights out, like, I mean, you can generalise it in terms of like just meeting up and going to football or going watching the rugby or whatever. Like, you don't particularly want to just mention something that is such a touchy subject. Just like, boom, there it is. Have some of that, and everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna? Do you want to go into a separate room? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want a one-to-one? How do you feel about it? What are you thinking right now?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I won't mention it. I'll mention it next week. Next week comes. I won't mention it. I'll mention next week. And it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
And on. And in that time, you're building up as well. So you're thinking, is it getting worse?
Absolutely.
But I think, like, as long as you tell someone, it's like, problem shared, problem hard, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Through society, like, you think, you're a bloke. Just, man up.
Get on with it.
Or whatever. Yeah. I know I've said, probably all said, oh, man up, get on with it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not meant as a put down, like.
No.
It's just like, I think we've all got stuff going on in our lives, like. And we just think, oh, well, it's part and parcel. We just got to get on with it, rather than thinking, oh, actually, if I sit down and take a bit of time, communicate properly, rather than just calling someone I won't swear on your podcast. It's just like that kind of thing. I don't think, it's awkward. You just feel a bit awkward rather than just opening up.
Yeah.
But again, because no one ever opens up, you think that, I'm the only one. And then you see, like, these drives now, like, recently to sort of like start talking about it, and this podcast, for example, and you want to put it out there to make everyone think, well, no, you're not the only ones going through it. And the more people that can go and think, actually, they're going through it. It's like, well, I'll speak up, and that's just another number then, and then everyone ends up speaking up, and it becomes quite a talked about conversation. But up until now, no one really has ever spoken about it, and it's like, what's that hidden agenda? We can't discuss that. We can't.
You compare, don't you, as well? I think you look at people and think, oh, they got their lives figured out.
They got their
but
stuff together.
I would say 99% of people are just getting by. They know.
But social media is a prime example. Social media is a prime example.
I'm not on Instagram either, because I think that's
Instagram's
a big
bad,
platform.
It's really bad.
Give a snapshot. I've got to show that I'm living the best life. I hate that saying.
It's a highlights reel.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I've done exactly the same. I'm on Instagram, but I've shut off a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I control what
I don't want to see anymore. Same with Facebook. Like I'm on Facebook, so if people want to get in touch with me, they still can. I don't need to know what everybody else is doing, and part of that is for my benefit as well, because like you said just now, you do compare. You don't intentionally mean to do it, but sometimes you do look at things. You think, oh, why couldn't I have had that? Or why couldn't I do that? Or I'd love to do this, or I'd love to do that. And sometimes your circumstances just won't. You just can't do that. But then
you don't know the backstory of that.
But that's it. But that's part of life as well, isn't it? Everybody's experiences are different than everybody else's, and so.
Well, what do they say? Comparison's a thief of joy.
Yeah, it is.
And
very true.
Social media is prevalent now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You see, like you said, it's that highlights reel of everyone a snapshot, but then getting the full picture.
Instagram has made normal almost seem perfect, haven't they? And everyone's striving for that perfection.
Absolutely.
And they're going through life thinking, I need this perfection. If I don't get it, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not good enough. The reality of it is, it's more than enough. But because Instagram is perceiving this, this sort of like genre of Instagram models and filtering and debt and stuff like that. No one knows that.
Yeah.
But people who are reading it and looking at it, they're thinking, this is normal. I need to be like that.
Yeah.
And it really gets them in a really bad place, to be honest.
Yeah. I think that's it. Like, I think if you keep filling your mind with negative stuff, eventually it does kind of, it will get you down in time. It will.
Yeah. But even getting that, like I say, you might get it and think, oh, actually I didn't get any satisfaction from that. So you're chasing the next thing.
You are, yeah.
Rather than looking and thinking, actually I'm quite content here with
what you've got.
What I've got here is.
Yeah. And there's
nothing wrong with it, I don't think, aspiring to do something different or add something to it, but do it for the right reasons.
I think coming back to what you were saying, man, about talking amongst men and promoting how important it is, and all the work going on now, which is amazing to see. And it's not just those with a mental illness. You know, if you get used to talking about your mental health and how you're doing, and you know, if someone's saying, "Oh, how are you doing, bet? You okay?" I'm going, "Do you know what? Not really. I'm having a bit of a time of it," and that becoming normal rather than going, "Yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine," and carrying on with it. Then you know, even if you're not experiencing a mental illness, your mental health is going to be that much better, and you are used to opening up and going,
managing it before it becomes
preempting any issue. Absolutely. So
I think as men, you could check in. I try and check in with people. I try and check in with you. I'm not saying like every day. What are you doing? How are you doing?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But every now and again, just touch base. But for both of you, like to know, because you'd hate to feel like if you didn't do something and then you know someone's gone through the ringer and you could have quite happily been there for someone to know that's so I think that needs to change as well. Like,
it's that excuse of busy, life is going on, but then are you really that busy to just send a text or just a message or pick the phone? You know, you find time to do other things, isn't it? And you know, I
people got a life going on, haven't they? But like I say, it don't take a lot to.
No.
Like we obviously through lockdown, I think didn't really catch up with the boys.
No.
Well, we don't anymore.
I think it was twice last year, wasn't it? We actually got together, which, you know, if you think, like, we would be out, you know, God, in our 20s. Yeah. And I know that seems like
a long time ago.
Long time ago now.
But again, I think
but it was like every weekend, you know, that.
And we did.
You know,
taking the positive,
summer holidays.
Taking a positive from COVID, I think that's what's come out of the last couple of years is that, you know, people are starting to talk about it more because people have got to the point where they've been on that border and then COVID have just pushed them over the edge.
Yeah, like staggering statistics with it. It's like 1 in 4 people will suffer mental health this year, and like 3/4 of suicides are male, and it's the biggest killer in males under the age of 40 or something, like that. Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
The amount of colleagues that I've got that have, you know, had to go to the doctors to seek help for, you know, depression, anxiety, things like this, you know, and being on medication. It's so common now, you know. And again, for me, it was really hard when I did go and think, right, I need to get some medication for me. It was like, God, that's like that was rock bottom for me. It was like, oh my God, like I've got to the point where I need to seek a doctor's help now. To give me something, you know, to get me, well, just to make me feel normal.
Every individual is you know, going through a unique journey, isn't they? Yeah. Whereas, like, you know, you can't just turn around and say, we'll dish this medication out by the mass, like, by the hundreds and whatever. And coping, you know, you can't give advice to someone when you've got no idea who they are. And that's when we were talking about opening up to the boys who know you. Because, you know, we know what you do, we know what you do for work, socially, you know, and we can help you out in some respect, rather than just going to someone who has no idea who you are and go, you need to do X, Y, Z. And you're like, well, actually I've tried it. So, any other ideas?
I think, for me, if I'd have come out and said that I was struggling sooner, it probably would have been better for me. Well, one, been more comfortable, knowing that everybody knew I didn't feel right myself and that I wasn't anything. So if I come out and I was in a crap mood, or I was short with somebody, or I was quiet one night, or, you know, I just wasn't getting into it, they kind of knew then why I was like that, if that makes sense, rather than trying to hide the fact that, you know, I wasn't myself. Because, like, I just said for a few years, like, I wasn't, and getting there now, you know, I've got my confidence back now, you know, I'm off the medication, which is fantastic for me. I've been off it now for about 18 months now, something like that. But for a long time, I wasn't myself. I was somebody different. I couldn't take any enjoyment out of anything, really, for a long time. And what you find, and I don't know whether you find the same, like when I was on the medication, it just numbed everything.
It evens you up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have the highs, you don't have the lows. It just gives you more that even keel.
It just balances you out. So, you know, it allows you to deal with, you know, the bad stuff. You know, like the bad stuff, like if something stupid would happen, say like, you know, say my washing machine packed in, right? At one point, like, because I just couldn't deal with anything, that would be like the end of the world to me. A £350 washing machine, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that would have broken me. Absolutely stupid. It's not like, you know,
Can't think logically.
You just couldn't think logically. It was like, oh, how am I going to pay for that this month? Where's that money going to come from? Why is that broke now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas when you're like on the medication, then it does allow you to sort of go, oh, it's a washing machine, not the end of the world. But when you're at that point where you're just so like emotional all the time, that just little things like that just sets you off.
Yeah. So you're saying on the flip side, and you don't really get any washing satisfaction.
Funny, I was using the washing machine as an example, but yeah, just like our washing machine didn't break, But yeah, it was just stupid things like that. Totally, like you bang the car, or somebody breaks on the car, and you got taken to the garage, and it's like.
A bit of a bad luck,
They obviously
say when he drove his car into the washing machine, right?
But they say, oh, things come in threes, don't they? Yeah. Right, so you're like, stupid.
Can I drive my car into
I'd be
the
like, oh, right, there's the washing machine, right? That's broke. The telly's knackered now, or something like that. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, why me?
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just because you cannot think clearly at all. And once I was on the meds, it allowed me to sort of go, okay, it's the telly, it's a washing machine, whatever it was at that moment in time, which was causing me to be like it was, and it allows you to sort of think more sensibly. And then what I found then is, like, after a while of being on them, it's like, right, I'm feeling good now, I can think straight again. And then it's a fight then to come off the tablets as well, which is, I don't know whether you've got to that point or whether you're still on them at the moment.
Fully on them, but
but the other side of it as well, like, you can't just go straight on like 100 milligrams of, like, wherever you're on, or 50 or whatever. The doctors will kind of ramp you up. So, like, for me, I started off on a tablet called citalopram, which disagreed with me, like, really badly. And I started on like 20 milligrams, which is quite a low dosage. And I was on that for a few months, and then it was like, this is just not doing anything for me, it's not touching me, And what you'll find as well is my experience, I'm not saying this is like, it's different for everybody else, but what I found, and what the doctor said was, you will feel worse in the beginning. You will, because obviously it's messing with your body chemistry, basically.
Yeah.
So even though you're feeling down, once you start going on it, you'll potentially feel worse, before you start feeling better. So I did that one for a while, and that didn't quite work out. And then I went on a different dosage, and I was on like 50 milligrams for a while. And then you start feeling okay, and I fell into the trap then of, you start feeling better, so you think, oh, I don't need these anymore. You know what I mean? I'm feeling fine now. So rather than coming back down off them gradually again, I just like stop taking them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it's like I'd be going, just take one every other day now, or something like that. And then what I found was I'd gone straight back down again now. And then I'd have a couple of weeks where I wouldn't feel quite right, and then it'd be like, oh my god, I need some help again. You know what I mean? So I start the process again, then I go on something different. And I probably did that for about 2 years. I did. Probably between 2016 and 2017. I was like that, yeah.
And I had any idea, to be honest.
And then,
saying all this.
And then in 2018 then was when I had my major, like, meltdown, which again, you guys, because this is the first for you now, really. This is like I'm saying, it's not something I openly talk about. 2018 then was when I had my big crash. Like, it was like rock bottom, you know what I mean? And I had to take time off work. And that was hard in itself then, because like it's at that point then you like, I had to say, I need a break. I need to stop what I'm doing, because whatever I am doing, it's just not working. No. So I went to the doctors, and they put me on what you're on now, which was the 100 milligram of sertraline, and I took 2 weeks off work for that. That's a hard conversation to have then with your employer as well, because obviously you've got to ring them up and you've got to say, I don't know whether you had this for your employers or anything.
Where in this list is your injury or illness?
Yeah.
And it's still like...
Yeah, so, and I remember ringing my boss at the time and trying to explain to him why I couldn't come into work that day.
Yeah.
And again, going back to what I was saying earlier on, it's you don't know how that person is going to take that. And they could be thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with this person? He just needs to pull himself together and just get on with it, you know, stop being you know. But like I was in a bad shape on the phone, and he could tell that I wasn't in a good place. So I took 2 weeks off work, and I was on these tablets. And then I went back into work then, and obviously you got to do the sort of your back to work interview and all of this kind of stuff, and you had to go through like, you know, why you were feeling like you're feeling, you know, and there's obviously lots of stuff going on at home. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about.
Sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know. It was like frustration in work, you know, and you know, just life in general just got to the point where it was just getting me down. To be fair to work, who I work for, they kind of sort of said, right, well, you just do what you want to do for the time being, and you know, once you start feeling better, we'll go from there, like. And then I was probably on the 100 milligram sertraline for about 12 months after that. And then it was like, right, by the end of, I think it must have been about 2019, I was like, right, I need to get off these now. You know, I was at that point again where I was like, right, I'm comfortable, I'm calm. You know, a lot of the stuff that was bothering me, I put to bed, essentially, or, you know, accepted. You know, I think for a long time I wasn't accepting a lot of the issues that I had, to be honest with you. And I just put it to bed and just said, right, I've got to move on now, you know, and because I don't want to, and I didn't want to keep living like that, you know what I mean? I didn't want to keep doing the same thing and thinking the same way all the time. And so 2019 then I started, you know, coming off the tablets. And then I think by 2020 was when I was off them then. Yeah. And
so we didn't know this.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, so I wouldn't have told anyone. I wouldn't have told anyone. This is the thing, see, I didn't want to tell anybody. You see. So 2020 then, COVID came around, and for me, COVID was the best thing that happened to me, yeah.
It helped me a lot as well.
Why is that then?
Because, right, what it did, I was able to step back from the rat race, if that makes sense.
Because everyone else was.
Yeah, so it was like, right, I could spend more time with my family. I had more money in my pocket. Yeah. I had, you know, more time to myself. You know,
life was on hold almost.
Yeah, it was like a reset. Everything came to a stop, and it was like a reset. And for me, that was like, oh, this is what I need. This was like a proper. Yeah. You know, and then from that point on to now, I have gradually just got better. I still have my days, and I think if you suffer with anxiety, depression like I do, you will never ever be over it. What you learn to do is, or what I've learned to do is I've just learned to manage it now. And I know, and the people, you know, close to me know when I'm going through something again. Yeah. And I have days now, you know, like this week I've been frustrated for one thing and another, but it's not to the point now where it's making me ill again, if that makes sense. So yeah, so it's been a really long journey, you know, and it's been years of stress and anxiety and depression and, you know, guilt, shame, worthlessness, anger, frustration, fear. I think I've said them already. Resentment, you know, just resenting everything on times. And thankfully, at the moment, I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
Good.
And you can get out of it, but it takes a lot of work. And the biggest thing for me was accepting help and accepting the fact that this was going to take a long time for me to get over. And I had to change a lot of things about myself as well. I had to start doing journaling was one thing for me.
Love that.
Yeah.
Writing
down.
Brilliant.
That was for about 12 months. That was one of the things that helped. You know, it'd be like an A4 page. You know, at the end of the page, I would write something positive. At the end of the page, it's like, right, I'm going to finish this page on a positive note. I'm not going to finish it on a negative. Right, and I did that nearly every day for about 12 months. And every now and again, I'd read back through that book. And I look at it and I think, oh my God.
Where was I at that stage?
What was you worrying about? Like, you know, just like...
But it gives you that opportunity.
It gives you that perspective. You know what I mean? Because at the time,
you've moved on.
You've got no perspective. You just think, my life's shit. Nothing's going for me. You know, and stuff, and you read it, and like it started as I was going through the year, and I was reading, the pages were getting more and more positive. So it wasn't like negative anymore. It was just all positive stuff. It was all good stuff, and you start appreciating little things, And like I found for a while, I just wasn't in the moment with anything. It was just like I was just reacting, or like I say, it's that fight or flight thing. Where I was just
drifting through like.
Yeah, and then like I said, so I did that for a long time. And the other big thing that helped me, which I was telling you about, was I listen to loads of like self-help stuff now, like on Spotify, motivational speakers, just like, and you listen to some of these guys and you think, oh my God, like you've come from a lot worse places than I have. Yeah. And it does help you put a lot of stuff in perspective.
But that's what's relative to you, isn't it? You shouldn't knock yourself and think, oh, someone's come from a worse place than me.
Yeah.
For you, it was the worst point.
It was my lowest.
Belittle it in effect then.
Yeah.
Comparing it again, it's come back to comparing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, so there was that, starting to get fit again was another one.
Yeah, that was exercise is brilliant for
exercise is another one.
For your mental health and well-being.
Even now, like if I come home from work and it's been a tough day, I have to go for a run on treadmill. Yeah. I'm not an absolute specimen.
Okay. I was going to say, what was I going to say?
It's a podcast, but you can tell
you're an Adonis.
I'm not.
I'm gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm not.
Thanks for you. Oh, that's nasty.
But yeah, just breaking that sweat and just some ways just taking a bit of aggression out.
Yeah, isn't it the endorphins as well?
Yeah.
I find when you switch off.
Yeah.
Refocus on.
Yeah, again. And then again, like if you're on a treadmill or something like that, sometimes it just lets you think about, I was rubbish today, and you do start thinking you just process it then, and then sometimes like if I don't do that, I can be really tense around the house, and it takes me ages to just. But if I go in and I just I'm gonna smash this run out quick, I can go right, I'm done now, happy, And then the other thing has been diet as well. It's like if you do chuck loads of rubbish in you, that does affect your chemicals in your body as well. So if you're eating junk food and stuff like that, and to be fair to me and Nick, the last 2 years we've been on big. Well, we've both been on diets and we've both done this and that, and
I've lost a lot of weight.
But again, I think that comes back to being in a better place again.
Yeah.
See, you know what I mean? Because it focuses your mind.
Yeah.
So, like I said, at the moment everything's good, everything's positive,
Yeah, good.
Things are on the app. I'm happy.
It's great to hear that, is better.
Chuffed to do something like this, which is quite positive. So yeah.
Happy days.
It just goes to show though, you commented earlier that you're talking a lot, but that's the point of it. Yeah. That's what we need to get at. Yeah.
It's kind of promoted,
I'll be honest, it's nice to laugh and joke about it.
It's taken about 10 minutes to get into this, but then it was like once you start going, and like you were saying earlier,
there's no stopping you.
There's no stopping. But so that's where I've been and
that's your journey,
and that's where I am now. So there is
the key things obviously the opening up aspect, but the positive journey that you can see from where you were to where you are, that's absolutely brilliant. But so we've already mentioned about work and how much that can have an impact on your mental health and well-being. Millet and Tommo, I know you two have got quite high pressurized jobs. It must be very mentally challenging and things like that. So how do you kind of deal with that? How do you deal with if you've had a bad shift or series of shifts and things? Can you kind of switch off easily? So what's your kind of go-to and how do you deal with that?
I'd try and leave everything for me in work. It's easier said than done, but like my missus will always say, you don't talk to me about jobs you've had or situations you've been in.
Yeah.
And then she'll find out when I'm talking to a randomer in the pub, we had this call this week or whatever. Like, you didn't tell me that. It's like you try and almost shield her from any of it.
Right, okay.
That's my way of dealing with it. I don't want to, like we were saying earlier, you don't want to burden anything, put anything else on anyone that they don't need to.
Yeah.
Like I say, they don't need to know. It's like I say, problem shared, problem half and all that. But I suppose we, in the fire service, quite beneficial that we always work and that there's always 5 of us on a truck. So there's all of us. We'll talk it out. if you have a bad job, you get back. And yeah, you talk about it and you almost develop a bit of a dark sense of humour.
Yeah.
To deal with situations.
So with regards to like you working in your teams, would you say that that's almost like your counselling to a certain extent, is that you can talk about it together?
Yeah.
And then you air out any kind of issues, any feelings you got and things like that, and then it's like put to bed type of thing? Or?
Yeah, because you're all gone through
that
shared experience. Incident, so you're all there and you know exactly what's...
Yeah.
Obviously, there's all varieties of experience there. People have seen lots of things. Some people just starting out, that's their first one. So you're conscious of that as well, because you know how you felt when you first started.
Yeah.
So it's just keeping an eye on each other, really. But it's an hard one to talk because it's so variety of things could happen on a job, and people are affected differently by different things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So like, I don't find it's not that much in work. I find it. I'm quite capable of dealing with things.
Yeah. So nothing's come up so far that's really caused you...
It's not, nothing's triggered. I'm not saying that down the line it won't.
No.
But, like I say, there's a good balance when you get back. Everyone's been through stuff and you breathe. So
you help each other through it and things.
Yeah,
you've got that.
The majority of
the support network is those you work with.
It is, and I wouldn't say there's a great from work side of it. That's probably still needs to come up the standard, I would say.
As in how the organisation and the service support.
Yeah. If you have a particularly bad call, which obviously you imagine the worst, then there's nothing in place really that's, like, I would say is really very good.
Okay.
You might get an email, or is everyone alright or whatever. And
so more of a token gesture.
Yeah, it feels a bit like a box tick type thing. But there's support then. There's a charity that's, like I say, provided for current and retired, who we all pay into, and that side of it, like, I found out that's really helpful.
Right.
And I've certainly benefited from that with my accident. So like having that, there's the physical and the mental, and they really shit up and all that. So it's good to know that's in the background as well. So I don't know with obviously other areas whether it's as good. I would imagine it's, because obviously a lot of other departments are working on their own, so you almost processing everything on your own, with no one to rebound off. So it
seems like there's a fine line. You've got your support network around you of those who've had the shared experience and things. But then at some point you can't over rely on that support network, isn't it? You need something that little bit more as well.
I would say, it's good to know that there's something else out there.
Yeah.
If you did need to use it.
Yeah, and not saying that touch wood, you never have to.
No.
But to know it's there is peace of mind as well, isn't it? Do you find in your line of work, Mil, that you can kind of detach yourself as well, or you've got a young family?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of the opposite, really. I talk about it a lot in the house. Obviously, I don't mention specific things, but I think that with a wife, you've got to talk about these things, and just she'll help you through it. And like I said, if you do have a breakdown the next day about a washing machine or stuff like that, no, genuinely, she'll understand why.
Yeah,
and it's because, like, I know why he's like that, because from what he told me, he's had a terrible night last night. Yeah. And if I don't tell her, she'd be like, "Why are you being like that?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And at least then she's like, "Oh, you okay from last night? Do you want to take 5 or?"
Have you always done that, or is that something fairly recent since having the kids, or is it?
No, I've always done it. I think I've stopped recently. I still talk to her about things, but not as much, because obviously, I've been doing it a long time now, and I'll come home sometimes and she'll say, "Oh, anything happened today in work?" And I'll be like, "No, nothing." And then she'll watch the news and she'll be like, "What's this all about then?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just,
Do you find that she can read you a little bit better as well now?
Yeah, she knows. Yeah, she
can pick up on
we've been together for years, like, so she knows roughly when I've gone through a bad day.
Yeah.
And she knows that I'll tell her.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in terms of support network, it is pretty good, to be fair. And as a team, like Dali said, we work in a team, and we all discuss it, and we look out for each other. And if we see any sort of decline in anyone's sort of personality or whatever, we will, like, speak about it. And again, going back to the whole thing about what this is about, it's all about depression and things like PTSD is things like talking about it as you're going along, as you're going through it, rather than letting it build up and then all of a sudden the storm's over, everything's calm and just like, wow, what happened there?
Yeah,
and it's
I could imagine.
I can't deal with this on my own now.
Yeah.
So talk about it as you're going through it, and that for me is the best way of how I deal with things. It's just to keep.
Yeah, and that comes back to mental health and
massively
maintaining
because you could
your healthy state of mind.
You could think, oh, I'm fine. I'll deal with another load of incidents, and like Di, we see some horrific trauma.
I can imagine.
Things that some people never see in their lifetime, and we may see it 3 times a night. So you've got to keep on top mentally. You've got to keep on top of your health.
Oh,
massively.
absolutely, most definitely.
And that's huge for me. That is.
Well, that's a kind of top priority, really, isn't it? Because mentally, if you're not in the right place, that's going to affect so many areas of your life. And it's going to affect your job. It's going to affect your home life. Everything. So
it's good that it's being
mind blowing,
becoming more and more the norm to be able to talk about stuff and not have to do it in like a laddie way.
No, exactly. Yeah, and put a brave face on. Yeah,
I love joking about. My missus says 90% of the stuff I say is absolutely just
nonsense,
crap.
Yeah,
but
and funny.
And the other 10% in part behind it. But it's almost having a way of just being able to think, no, I'm going to be serious once and say it. It's got to know who's there to be able to say that to as well.
Yeah.
But again, going back like your line of work and what you do for a living, what your home life is, every job is important, and at the end of the day, if it pays the bills, then it's important to you. And if something's going wrong during that work time that is affecting you, then it's a big issue. And I think
absolutely.
Identifying that early on now, because everyone's like, I'm getting paid to do this, get on with it. This is my job, get on with it. But it's like, do you realise like what you've just done? Like, do you realise what you've just seen? This is quite a big deal here. Let's talk about this now. Let's take away this this ego, and let's like start like putting it in perspective. And you need to start telling people, because otherwise it's
pausing and checking in with yourself, isn't it? And just seeing where you were at and what you need next.
It's like you said about the backpack, isn't it? Filling that backpack up.
Absolutely.
Why wait till that backpack's overflowing until you fall down? When it's half full and you're thinking, this is getting a bit heavy now. Let's start like emptying this out now quickly. And it's understanding that. It's understanding that early on. Because once you fall, it's very difficult to get back up, as you know.
Yeah.
But luckily you're up, and that backpack is probably half full now. Yeah. I'm not saying it's empty.
No, and it's like I said earlier on. I think this is something for me that it'll always be there for me. I think, but it's all about managing
it fills up.
Yeah, it's managing it. It is, and I think once you learn to manage things, like I know now when I'm having my bad days, but I know now how to manage it. And it does, reflection, I think, is a big thing for me. You look, you think, right, okay, it's been a really bad day now, but then you think, right, well, I come home now, I got a house, I'm comfortable, my family's well, everything's good, you know what I mean? I've got through it, I've got through today now, and, tomorrow's a new day, we start again, and just try and...
Do you have triggers, can you feel when you're heading down there? Or is it just that things happen and it's just...
Well, I used to. I have my days, even now, where I'm just I'm just in a rubbish mood, But I do try and, like a lot of the guys I work with, if you see them getting frustrated and they can't do this or they can't do that, or something's just not going quite right, you just have to go, what it is. You can't control it. You can't do anything about it. There's no point in winding yourself up about it. So just deal with it. No, that sounds awful, but you just have to go with the flow. Just go with whatever happens. Like I said, because you can't control it. It's like there's no point in
trying to limit.
There's no point in investing too much time or stressing something you can't control.
Yeah, it's controlling the controllables, isn't it?
Yeah.
And whatever you can't control is leaving it alone, because exactly you can't control it.
Yeah.
But it's that idea of how you react to something as well, isn't it? And coming back to like triggers and things, I've tried to set myself a kind of whole new kind of routine and lifestyle to a certain extent. So, you know, I've changed my job. I'm not involved in football at the moment, which I was involved in for.
Yeah, and that's a massive thing, isn't it?
That's a huge thing.
Because you've worked almost all your life to get where you were, and to turn around and say, do you know what? I'm packing this all in.
So 11 years as a primary school teacher, senior leader, knew that it wasn't right for me at this moment in time, and it was having an impact on myself and my family. I turned around and gone, do you know what? I need, for myself, I've got to be selfish, and I need to change. And you know, I am in a far better place with regards to that. I just think I'd come to the end of maybe my shelf life as a teacher, and I needed something new to focus on. So they were massive changes, and they've helped me loads. But like, you know, things like routines, journaling. I have started meditating.
Yeah.
So in the mornings, and having just that start of the day. Yeah. So a new morning routine to set me up for the day, which means I'm in the right frame of mind for the day. Yeah. And it's things like that that I find have helped me loads. Yeah. And it's just having that positivity throughout your day. Because as soon as the negativity comes in, that's when you're going to start to be in those low moods and things.
It's funny enough, because you said that. I actually started following a lot more groups on Instagram and Facebook based on that, and a lot of them are saying that, like, you know, what you watch first thing in the morning is programming your mind. You are programming what your behaviours, and you know, you click on a video like on Facebook or Instagram, wherever, you start like flicking through, and next thing you see, like, you know, a fight, you know, in a school, and you see another fight like on a night out, and it's like you're watching that like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, hang on a minute now, you're watching so much stuff that's just like blowing your mind. Like early on. Yeah. You know, you start watching like positive stuff, and it will set you up, because like you can't if you keep getting brainwashed with negativity, you will be negative. Yeah. And it's about surrounding, like they say, you know, our social group have probably got smaller over the years, isn't it? Because you start to be around the people who, you know, you can relate to more. Whereas, like, you know, why do you want to be around someone who's like constantly negative, and it's like constant, and it's like, I don't want to be around that person anymore.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. I find this with people. If you're in an environment where there's a lot of toxicity around you, you know, and it, like, and it's like sometimes like you can't help it, because that's just where, that's like, say you're in work or something like that, right? So you got a lot of people around you who are, you know, perhaps going through stuff as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. That will negatively impact you as well. And like, I found that with me, like a lot of times, like people were struggling, they come to me perhaps because they found me approachable or something like that. They'd offload on me. I wouldn't stop people from doing that now. You know, like if somebody felt that they needed to come to me and speak to me, then please carry on. Yeah. But sometimes, like, you know, if you're not in a good place yourself, that person offloading on you as well, that can have a bit of a negative effect on you. It does. Yeah, so that can have, and you know, that sounds awful now, because I wouldn't want people not to talk.
But but at the same time, you've got to look after yourself.
Yeah, you have.
And you know, you've gone through something that, you know, obviously, or going through something is an ongoing thing, and you've got to be very like selfish now with what you take in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
and you're not just going to tell them, "Oh, shut up."
No,
it's just. But you choose to be around the people who you want to be around, and you choose to be around what you want to watch on, you know, social media or TV or where you want to go. Because otherwise, it's like you're putting yourself in this position, and you're just like, why am I here?
Yeah, like
this is just
like I'll try and
add into the drama again.
Yeah, like if I'm you know, I try and obviously, like when I'm in work and things like that, I try and be as positive as I can now. You know what I mean? Because like I've been in that place where I was just negative, like, you know. But like I want to be, if I can be as positive as I can, hopefully people around me then will be feed into that as well.
Well, coming back to what you were saying about being around the people who you want to be around, and being more choosy, I suppose, as you grow up in the company you keep. I think there's something like you are the sum of the 5 closest people to you or something, isn't it? There's that, the 5 people you spend the most time with. I know.
Unlucky that.
Oh, what?
So
Luther told me this.
Luther,
Yeah.
you just walking around eating dog biscuits all day, you know?
What are you trying to say?
There's also, like you say about videos and scrolling through and things like that. They say you shouldn't look at your phone the first 15 minutes or whatever before waking up, and it's the idea as well of the person who walks down to the corner shop to buy the newspaper first thing in the morning. If it's the first thing you're doing is reading a newspaper, you're filling your head with negativity or things you can worry about, and then you're starting your day in that mindset.
Yeah.
And going forward with that. So it's quite interesting with that. But there's quite there's highly successful people who start with their 3 statements of gratitude, isn't there? 3 things they're thankful for at the very beginning of their day, and then they move forward. Okay. So they're starting with the positivity again. So they write down 3 things they're grateful for. It could be absolutely anything. It could be the fact you've got a roof over your head, food in the cupboard, literally anything. Yeah. And they start.
I think a lot of times, things like that, everyone feels there has to be something massive,
big, grand, absolutely, yeah.
Rather than just like, oh, I got out of bed without snoozing.
Yeah.
This morning, like a small win, like.
I had breakfast before I went to work.
Yeah. And that's another thing, because like you could have someone listening to this podcast who is thinking like, oh, they're talking about all this stuff. I haven't got that. So why is it relevant to me? Well, you find your place in terms of what is positive to you, and you've got health, if you've got like a roof over your head, any roof over your head, you're able to eat, and then you build yourself, and that's I think that's something important to mention.
There was I can't recall his name now. He must have been like a major in the US Navy or the Army or something, and there's this famous speech, and he's got a book since. You know, the one about making the bed?
I know.
And making the bed and the cricket.
Yeah.
Generally, every morning, after I make the bed,
Can't be Labrador.
Every single
still on
morning.
it, so you won't.
But I make the bed. I don't sleep in it. But no, it's making the bed.
Yeah.
And already, what do you say? That's the first win of the day.
Yeah.
And then your success and it goes on and on. So there's lots like that, isn't there? That you can add into a routine to try and get a bit more of a positive mindset, isn't it? And
I know. It might be a little thing, like you said.
Small steps,
not a big thing.
Yeah.
Small steps.
I know. People, speaking of people, someone quite close to me, he struggled for years, like, and he said one of the big things: get a routine.
Yeah.
Like, I did with my shifts. I don't know if you were the same, man. With my shifts, 2 days, 2 nights. You've got 4 off, so you have a lot of downtime, but then your shifts are all over the place, and your sleeping patterns everywhere. You don't really have a routine.
No, must be really difficult.
And it does. You get a bit not chaotic. It's the wrong word.
It does, yeah.
You don't. I think you're better off. Like, even if you just say, right now we've got 4 days now.
Like unstructured.
You're just living by.
Yeah. It took me a while, almost 15 years.
Yeah.
But even though it's a staggered like a staggered shift pattern,
you get into.
It's my routine.
I suppose.
I do a shift pattern that's all over the place.
Kind of got
but it's a regular all over the place.
Yeah. So
I found my own routine.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And obviously, because you've got to a different you can't afford not to.
That's such a different ballgame.
How do you deal with like your unpredictable hours? Because obviously, like, if something happens, you can't just get up and go. You were there until it.
You just prepare it
until it finishes. How does that kind of affect you then as well? Like,
I think when you've been doing it for a while, you tend to get used to it.
Yeah.
Just a normal struggle at the beginning, but you do.
It's probably more for you than me. My shifts normally do end.
Yeah.
At the end, I mean, you have a bit of, sometimes you have to go over, but
it's not too bad, to be fair. It's not that bad.
I imagine that can be quite stressful as well, then, because like if you make plans, then
if you got a plan,
or you got like childcare issues, or you got something like that, and you can't get there and things.
And you find out like when a kid starts school, for example, and things.
But then
this thing with COVID, I don't know.
In all fairness, though, the organisation is pretty good.
Yeah.
So they
understand.
They adapt, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier. You dropped it in. Your accident. For me personally, I feel like this is something that we haven't really discussed in depth.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the first time that we're gonna have like a proper chat about it, really. So just set the scene, Earl. So back in January 2018, wasn't it? I woke up after a lovely sleep. Don't get much of that these days with kids. But I checked my phone and there's a message on it. And I'll read this. This is part of the message. It's a quote. I can't read all the message. I might drop him in for this. Because you know what was on there, don't you? Yeah. So it said, I'm currently in the hospital with scaffolding around my head because I bust my spine. I'm a bit of a lucky boy really to still be here, but hopefully we'll recover. Random, I know, but I'll let you know the full story when I see you, but I haven't got my response here, but I think it was something along the lines of, are you kidding me? Are you joking? What else do you say? And apparently no, he wasn't joking. So I put this simply to you, what's the story, man?
It was sort of, I stupidly bought a motorbike a couple of years ago. Well, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So just thought, it's an easy commute, whatever. I thought I was a bit of a, bit of the kid in there. I'll buy that bike. I'll do a quick test.
What was the Sons of Anarchy? You've not been watching Sons of Anarchy.
The Harley come later. So then I thought I'll buy this bike. Yeah. So I was coming home from work one night, and then it was wet. Bike went from under me, so I come off the bike and landed. I had all decent gear on, but the helmet then as I hit the floor, face planted. It was a 30 mile an hour zone, so I was clearly doing 30.
Obviously, I expect nothing else.
The helmet saved my life, obviously, but the base of the helmet then has shattered the top of my spine. So I've flown off.
You say shatter the top of your spine. Typically, for people who have received that impact or had that injury, what is the diagnosis generally?
It's normally not good from the neck down, really. You just
so full body paralysis.
Wheelchair or more than likely death is normally the thing. So and then that falls into then, like you say, it's just first of all you come round. It's obviously all a bit of a daze. There was a foot peg through my shin, so I pulled myself off, winded, bruised up on my ribs and stuff, so I couldn't breathe properly, really. And then just stumbled across the road, lay down pretty much, and then paramedics turned up and go through here. And they put a foil jacket on me, make me look like a jack potato on the side of the road. That was going to be whatsoever. So I was on the road, on the side of the road for about 2-3 hours, like the police come.
Can I just say that now you are kind of full health, so to speak, and you got no issues in that, because there's people might be listening who won't know you and
full recovery. It took a best part of a year to get back to the thing, but like I say, based on the picture, again that comes into the access, and a big part of that was the access to the charity and the rehab centres that are available, but also a lot of monotonous time just spent trying to rehab, really boring.
So take us back to the scaffolding aspect. So you've had the accident, you're in hospital, what was the recovery at?
They take me into the hospital. I don't want to go into some of the details, because if you ever have a spinal injury, they've got to do a certain test on it to ensure you've still got control.
Oh, lovely.
So, which involves rubber gloves and so it's a great amusement to my missus, but
did I say 2? Better make it 3.
Can't picture, but can you
we don't even see that, but I still had clench control, so and then they wheel me in and
You've never had clench control.
That's why
I used to wear brown pants out drinking.
So like I say, because the first thing you do when it's not the first thing to do. I've not even done it once, but the first thing I did was move your hands, move your feet. You think, right, I can move things. That's positive.
Yeah.
I stood up. I took my helmet off. So I'm coming in, they've x-rayed me. I think I might have bust some ribs or something, whatever, and obviously my shin. Wheeled me into x-ray. Oh yeah, by the way, you broke your neck. I was like, you just sit there, like. I remember my missus had come down and she was sat in there when they were talking about it, and she was like, "You're right." I was like, at that point, I just didn't know what to think. Like, you just instantly think, "Well, I'm moving things," like, but and then you get a vibe of how people are, like the
reacting,
the professionals are, and it's like there's 3 doctors, 4 nurses, and you just think
this is serious.
It's a bit
overkill, and then they wheel me out into this room for another X-ray, and then they blah 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 wheel me into another room for a day because they didn't have any beds or anything. And then it must be the day after, and they come in and he's like, how do we, sort this out? Like, what's the... Oh, yeah. Have you ever heard of a halo? I was like, I haven't got a clue what that is. Like, oh, yeah. Well, you go into this frame, and it just straps you down and lay your neck fused together. I was like... But they wasn't sure at this point whether they were going to be able to operate, obviously, because you're talking millimetres now rather than things. So it was all a bit heightened. And then, it was just... it eventually came to it. They said, right, what we're going to do is put you in a halo, and then the consultant came around and was like, have you anyone explained to you? I was like, this was like day 2 or whatever now, in just a stiff neck collar. I had to lie flat, no one was allowed to move me, nothing. My missus,
2 days staying at the ceiling.
Yeah, so my missus, and then obviously that's a lot of time in your head then. It's like when there's people coming in and out early on, they're asking you questions all the time, keep repeating your name and stuff. It's then, as it goes into like, later on is you've got a bit more time to yourself, and I'd be honest with you, that's the first time I'd probably then you're alone with your thoughts and you're thinking the worst. It was probably a really shit time for her as well. Like it's not just like you become a bit you were thinking of yourself at the time, and then you think of everything going forward. You think that's a very different life.
Absolutely.
And you still don't know, like even at that point you didn't know whether the halo was going to work. I certainly didn't know where I was going to be able to. I'd been waited years and years to get in the job.
Me and you, Millet, we went down. Well, it must be a couple of days later. It wasn't long into it, and you'd had the frame attached and stuff.
I remember seeing it. I was like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, obviously, coming in, we wanted to be positive and not make much of a fuss and stuff. But that was scary. That was scary. So I spoke to you after receiving the message from you.
Yeah.
I spoke to your brother a lot that day, and he was saying about the injuries and the impact it could have and what could have happened and things, and it was quite sobering to hear how lucky you were, but probably 9 times out of 10 maybe.
And like I say,
you are the one, you are the exception, because and I think that's why we probably haven't spoken about it in depth, because it was a real possibility. The chances of you dying or being severely restricted it's far greater than what you like now.
And like I say, it's not normal. You'd think like broken arm, cast it, 6 weeks later, it's a bit of like muscle rehab or whatever, and that's it. But where this obviously it's totally you just think everything's connected here, like, and it's and it was just probably like that was frightening. I was in I think it was in hospital just over a week with the frame on and stuff, and you lie in there, and you have so much time in your own head, like. Normally,
that's the worst.
I've never really.
So how did you get through that period? Because that must have been mentally drained. So the drugs bit, obviously.
It was like it was. I don't know. It's hard to really explain how you were just waiting because you were waiting for when the consultant comes from next. I got some questions or whatever, and there was some old boys on the ward there with me. I chat with them or whatever, but. Obviously, I'm fixed in this bed, so you just think, like, what's happening here now? Like, what do I do? Like, you're worried about your job. Normally, you've got a degree of control on it, but this time it was like, whoa, shit. So then they say, oh yeah, we put the halo on, which involves screwing like a frame to your skull, pretty much. I was like, and how long do I have this on? Oh, minimum 3 months. I was like, hang on now.
Yeah. How long did it actually? How long was it?
It was just over 3 months I had that on for, and then I was in a neck brace for another 4 months. So and it literally, you gradually do the rehab to build your strength up, but you lose all the muscle. You come home and then you just sit. You can't lie down because it's not possible to do that, the frame and stuff. So you've got to properly set up. It's the first time I had appreciation for throw cushions around the house. So like wedging them in the gaps and stuff, and so every day you just blend into one, and then
where were you kind of mentally then? So you've left hospital, you're at home. You say you can't lie down. You've got to sit up. You can't really go out anywhere. You're left alone with your thoughts or the telly and things like that. So where were you?
Fair play.
Mentally with that.
My missus was awesome. She was there, like, really helpful. My mum and dad were on a cruise at this point, and I was like, don't tell her.
I'll be honest, but that was the bit I left out of the text message reading.
They were off enjoying themselves.
I was sworn to secrecy.
So I did say, I was like, don't tell her. They can't do anything. They literally they were just panics.
Hell of a surprise coming out of that.
Welcome home.
Like Mum and Dad.
Yeah. So at that point, you just
like my new jewellery.
Notice anything different?
Yeah, you can put a dodgy Delboy watch to hang off the top area, like. But then, and then it's, I don't know, it's just, you just gradually just think, what's going on here, like, you can't move, or everything's a chore, and it's...
So do you say you got kind of quite low?
First off,
and really in a bit of a dark place to start with, or...?
It was a fear, first of all.
Yeah.
That turned into, like, right, they've put this frame on, you can control this now, literally, you can control it by going nowhere, doing anything.
Yeah.
And then, I think as time went then, like early on, people would come and see you to like break up the day and stuff. You have too much time with your thoughts, like.
Yeah.
And you're thinking the worst.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a dangerous place.
And then obviously I'm trying to stick as many drugs in me as I can. There's no structure to your day, like at time.
And nothing prepares you for anything like that, does it? It's not.
So I just went down and you're alone with your thoughts. And again, rightly or wrongly, I didn't really express that to my missus like you were on with it. I just kept it all in.
Yeah.
My missus work gave her a fair bit of time off, like maybe 2 months. As like she went back to work, and then you're on your own all like.
Yeah.
My parents would pop in or whatever, but then I get the point.
So
didn't really want to see anyone like that.
Yeah. So would you say you was quite a lonely time?
Oh, massively, yeah. I did, like, because I've always tried to be like, not life and soul or whatever, but really upbeat and everything. You just don't want people to see you. Just like, I don't want sympathy or anything. It was literally, this is what I got to deal with. But at the same time, you in that thought, you think, am I going to be able to deal with this? I was like, and still at this point didn't know what the new normal for me looked like. Luckily, I've come back to normal.
There's obviously, like any operation and any kind of rehabilitation, was it ever in the back of your mind that I've got this on, but it still may not actually work? I don't know if it's fusing, or did you ever have that idea?
Early on, like I say, until you went to the hospital and then you have your x-rays down in like local hospital where you actually you can see some program and you can judge people pretty quickly, like reading
facial expressions.
Early on, like you say, when you're sat in that room and people come around after you had the halo, after the initial shock they see their face, you can see in their face and they're just thinking, oh shit, that's not good. Yeah. Whereas you could read, the consultant was looking like early on, he's like, I can't make you any promises here. This is to get you to a base. We're not talking normal base. We're talking your new normal where
not here. Not there.
I remember the first time he said, "Oh, and what's your job?" I was like, firefighter. He's like, "Oh, right. We're not convinced we're going to get you back to that, like, because that's
and how long had you kind of been in that role and finished your training and things? How long?
What do you mean?
So you hadn't been in there that long, had you?
No, I did probably come up to 3 years at that point. Obviously 2 years of training and then you're into your role, so you're just getting into it, really.
So had you done your role for about a year?
That like passed out all your assessments and all that, yeah. So
still really early.
Yeah, and you've been waiting for like say years and years to get this role, and then you get it, and then in a blink of a thing it could all be taken away, or it's going to look a very different role now. Like, so, I would say probably 6 months the time, and then you just a long lonely time really, like. And there was people there, but you just checked out, like. And I became almost nocturnal then, like I sleep in the day, and then I'd be watching box sets at night.
Yeah,
you couldn't. I suppose I literally would fall asleep through sheer fatigue.
Yeah,
you sat upright. I checked enough
Because like a routine, isn't it?
And the pain, but
new routine.
You couldn't have there's no such thing. You were in pretty much a fixed position.
Yeah, and then like I said,
time meant nothing. I suppose.
Certainly, I think I spoke to you briefly, you boys, on my stag do, I think, about it. Before that, I never really experienced any sort of, and even then, I wouldn't have said it was like depression as you guys have gone through it. Because I think it was the situation was thrown on me. It was the first 6 months was really like just my head was in the shed. You try to put on this front of I'll watch football on the telly or whatever, but it's I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But
looking back at it and you know how you not necessarily dealt with the situation, but how you acted and how you didn't really seem like you didn't want to burden people. Would you do it differently?
Probably now, yes. Even listening to you guys tonight, like Millet talk about, he speaks to his missus if he has a like bad shift and stuff. I probably should open up more really in that sense, and probably not see it as you're burdening people with it.
Yeah.
Because it's the wrong way to look at it. Where it's probably slightly different to you guys is mine was like probably physically triggering my mental side of it.
Yeah.
So when I could see that
get it better,
right, yeah.
that came hand in hand with my mental improvement, and I just appreciate small steps.
Yeah,
that was the big thing I found, and no one ever told me that. But you look back, I'm never gonna get any better.
Yeah, but you did.
And then you look back 3 weeks ago, and you think,
like I'm doing that now. I was doing that.
Yeah. If you have a broken body part, people say, well, go to hospital and get the treatment you need.
Yeah.
Whereas
physical injuries
up in your head,
you get sympathy then, don't you?
You can't, because
people can see it.
And I don't think, unless you've gone through anything, like you guys, are much more able to be compassionate to people and like reason with them.
Yeah.
Than someone who hasn't.
Yeah.
Because you just see it as you're having a bad day, but it's much more than that, isn't it?
But we all have mental health, don't we? Everyone has mental health.
It's up, it's down. It's like
exactly.
Life is hard. It is. Life is hard. You know, and I think I think sometimes like you can, it's really easy I find to not pay too much attention to the really good stuff because it's just like But then the bad stuff that happens every now and again, it's like that stuff.
But until you focus on
that, you do focus on it.
Yeah.
But I bet you do now though.
What's that?
I bet you do now. Focus more on the good stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot, and I try to train myself to try and do that more. Some days you do.
And that's the key. It is training, and it's creating a habit because the brain processes negative emotion quicker than positive.
Yeah.
And it's drawn to that. We've evolved in looking at the fight or flight aspect.
Yeah.
And looking at the worst case scenarios of what could happen. So we're programmed to look at the negatives rather than looking at the positives.
And that's why the anxiety comes with the fear of what you do. Actually, when you do it, you think, actually, it's not that bad.
Yeah. It's almost like the logic of the situation isn't there because this could happen, this could happen. And do you know what? None of them actually happen.
There's that. So you see a skydive, don't you? When you see them up in the plane, they're so anxious and nervous, and they're thinking, what if the parachute don't open? What's something like that? And then that moment they hit the ground, they're like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. That was amazing. And you're like, what was I worried about?
Before we come on, you're like, I'm not saying that. I gotta mention it. The radiator.
So obviously I've had it in for a while, Andy for a couple of months now, excuse me, kind of getting used to it. And so we go, it must be someone's birthday or something, or like mum and dad's house, and they've got this ensuite, it's quite a narrow ensuite, and you've got the toilet, and literally opposite the toilet is one of those bathroom towel radiators.
With all the slots.
I don't know if anyone knows what a halo looks like. You've got 4 points sticking off it, like I said about scaffolding. I needed the facilities. So once I've used the facilities, I got to get up, and my front two forks go straight into the radiator and get stuck. And obviously, you think, I can get out of this. But I don't know how it happened. But I must caught on a screw or something, and it wouldn't let me pull my head back out.
So at this point, had you managed to get your trousers out up?
Oh no, I was literally off the toilet, and trousers around my ankles, and just... And obviously at this point I don't drink or anything, so it's just literally diazepam and naproxen. So I'm like, I'm trying to rationalise myself, thinking, well, I've got it in there, how am I going to get up? So yeah, about quarter of an hour later, someone came up because they're like, well, we haven't seen Di for a while. And I'm lucky I had just about freed myself before someone caught me in the bike holder position, I would call it.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your openness and I really enjoyed it. Hopefully this is the start of our group being more honest and open about our mental health. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at @the_mantman podcast. And if you want to be involved in the show in any way, just get in touch. See you on the next episode.